Kia ora, and welcome to the Geographer in the Hallway series, where I, Katie Corson, talk to geographers and honorary geographers about their careers.
My name is Marc Tadaki. I'm a social scientist at the Cawthron Institute, which is an interdisciplinary environmental research institute based in Nelson. It's the largest non-government environmental research institute in the country, and it's community owned, so any sort of surplus that is made goes back in to be invested into community projects and science communication and basically stuff that benefits the community. One of the projects I'm involved in at the moment is a research project with one of the national science challenges, the Our Land and Water National Science Challenge. It's working with catchment groups, folks who are sort of on the ground in catchments in regions across the country who are trying to pull together landowners, farmers, and even tangata whenua as well, basically to improve the health of their waterways. And so there are these catchment groups that exist all across the country. They're wanting to succeed, and we as researchers are trying to help them. So we've been talking to several. We're working with 4 catchment groups and communities across the country, and we've created a forum to kind of bring them together so we can all sort of talk and share stories and learn, and we as researchers can take notes and help to draw lessons from that process. So that's an exciting piece of work where you're working with folks who are embedded in place. We have, as geographers, we have to pay attention to the differences in places, how history matters, how the relationships between tangata whenua and landowners has evolved over time. These things are all important. All of it is in service of trying to build stronger relationships in the present so that we can sort of come together to work towards improving the health of rivers across the country. Often, desk sitting. A typical day would be probably a meeting or 2 or 3, lots of chats with folks, which is actually quite rewarding. In team meetings, you have various administrative stuff, and then I guess with the research projects you have on the go, the tasks will change over the course of the research project. Some days it'll be desktop research, so looking up articles or evidence on a particular aspect of the freshwater environment. Other times it's sometimes doing interviews. At the moment I've been doing a lot of interviews. You have to think a lot about what to talk to people about when you interview them, so there's a lot of thinking that goes around interviews. Research itself can involve field trips, going out like to Hawke's Bay. We went to Napier a month and a half ago to do these interviews and talk with council folks, talked with landowners, met with tangata whenua. So there's field work to talk to people and engage with them in their place. At the moment, another thing I'm also involved in is just planning research, so just hatching ideas for future research with colleagues. And in a place like Cawthron, it's really cool because we as social scientists, or in this case, I'm an environmental geographer, so I'm kind of more on the human social science side, but a lot of my colleagues come from freshwater ecology, marine ecology, and so everybody's just trying to think up big new ideas. And so it's kind of cool just being like, hey, you mentioned you had this idea for something, let's have a chat, let's have a play around and think about what kind of problem this represents, whether folks in this country are dealing with that problem, and whether we might develop some research ideas around it. Another part of what we do at Cawthron is consultancy. So when a regional council or a government agency has a problem and they want research to help them solve that problem, they'll put out a tender or a call for proposals, and then sometimes we at Cawthron will be like, okay, do we think we can help them answer this problem? Pull together a team, might involve an ecologist over here and a geographer over here, and then we'll say, okay, well, we think we can help solve your problem, here's how. And sometimes those things get funded, and those are also exciting bits of work. My arc at university actually didn't start with geography. I kind of came out of high school, I carried on with what I was good at the time, which was chemistry, physics, and nurturing an interest in film studies. It took me a while, and I started off doing well in those subjects, and then I sort of lost interest and became bored. 2006 was a turning point for me in my university studies, because that was the year An Inconvenient Truth came out, a documentary about climate change with Al Gore. I watched that movie, it really shook me, it affected me, and I was terrified on the one hand, but intrigued on another. What I really found interesting was, I guess, the sort of cycles of the feedbacks in the Earth system, where you have things like ice sheets melting, and then that leads to the Earth absorbing more radiation and then warming even faster. And it was just the right type of intrigue that I needed, I guess, to decide actually that's the kind of stuff I want to research. So I completely changed my degree, started studying physical geography, and which is all about understanding landscape processes and these sort of, across scales, catchment scale, tectonic scale, and all of these interconnections all the way down. So physical geography was really exciting to me, and I chose to focus on studying rivers and climate. Graduate level, I sort of became more interested in, I guess, the environmental management side, and so I then took to trying to apply some of these ideas about complexity of rivers and landscapes, and how do we work with that, how do we manage it in a social context. For me, I didn't have something that excited me straight away coming out of school, right? And it might be that, if nothing's super exciting you right now, then maybe that's okay. You don't have to pick that thing to stick with that thing for the rest of your life. You may have that exciting thing that comes along. For me, it was physical geography, which then became sort of human and environmental geography, and now environmental management and research. Try to find that spark. Don't stress out if you haven't found it yet, but you will find it. And when it comes, try and grab onto it and see where it takes you.
Thank you for tuning in to the Geographer in the Hallway series. If you like this video, click the thumbs up. And if you want to be notified when more videos are posted, click the subscribe button.